Alexa, volume 8. Hey, hey, hey. Alexa, pause. Hey, 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 it is Money Monday, and it's me, Shawnee Curry, making sure that you tune into a conversation that always converts over into some cash. So hopefully you guys are still fully aware that it is still Financial Literacy Month, and all month long, I have been bringing a lot of experts to Money Mondays to just provoke your thoughts, because when you start to provoke your thoughts, you begin to create new actions, and new actions always create new results. Okay, so something that I have always been interested in is just like now it seems that I have more time, right? So I've been looking, and always, whenever it is that I'm having a conversation, I always want to, whenever I'm actually having a new thought, I like to bring others in who have succeeded in the space in which I'm thinking about moving into. And aside from bringing people into our conversation space that converts over to cash, I also like to bring you along with me just in case you're thinking, well, why do I need to repair my credit score? Why do I need to save my money? Why do I need to push back my elbow and bend my risk a little bit when it comes to doing a little bit more cooking and eating at home? Why do I need to consider what I need to reduce so that I can increase? So I like to do a good job at providing you for reasons to do so. So I've been looking into commercial real estate. We actually have an expert that has been in the industry of commercial real estate for over a decade. So she has been able to usher people that look, think like you and I into their first commercial property. But I'm just going to give you just a little bit of information as it relates to commercial real estate. So I'm going to bring up some of those slides just so that you can see. So here I have for you 5 reasons to consider investing into commercial real estate, just to provide some foundations for you. Let's see the next slide. So the first one is commercial real estate investing in particular is known to provide some of the highest income streams. Okay, so that is one of the investment tools that you can use to bring in higher income streams. Let's see the next one. Warehouses are expected to be leading performing in commercial real estate investments. The success is due to companies trying to keep up with the growing demand for e-commerce orders. So because so many companies are moving out of their actual brick and mortar spaces and moving more so into e-commerce, warehouses have become a very hot commodity when it comes to commercial real estate. Next slide, please. Alrighty, so multifamily apartments properties are performing well as the demand for housing has not decreased. I was looking at some of the commercial properties that a lot of people are getting out of just because of the pandemic. Things like hotels, shopping markets are not really doing that well at this time, but apartments are still doing very well because the demand for housing has not decreased, specifically here in South Florida. Real estate investment trusts are a great REIT. They're really great solutions for small investors who don't want the hassle of finding, buying, and managing properties themselves. So you may want to look into REITs as an investment. That way you won't have to worry about the brick and mortar part, or maybe you don't have the higher investment to get into commercial. So you can look at it as a portfolio stock instead. Many of the maintenance and repair costs are fixed once and done and spread across many leases. Higher rental income and lower maintenance costs lead to a more profitable investment. So typically when you have to do an improvement on a commercial property, you're only doing it once. You're not you're not having to do it to, a few different units at a time. So those are some of the reasons that this particular investment tool is attractive to me. And now that I have laid the foundations to this conversation, I want to do the things that I always do, right? I want to make sure that you open up your spiritual purse, that you open up your actual purse, that you open up your bank account, that you open up whatever it is that connects you to your money, honey, because I'm about to give you some, right? You ready? You ready? You steady? You ready? You steady? You ready? You steady? Hey, next week, okay? I'm going to get a new gun, right? I got some new batteries for the old one, and then it just got all weird. So I got a few comments about that, a few DMs like, where's the money? Where's the money? You gotta take it manual. You know, I'm from South Florida. You know, I can just make adjustments, okay? So now that I have given you some money in the form of thoughts and ideas, I want to definitely give you some money in the form of information, because once you convert that information over to implementation, guess what? Person empowerment. All right. That said, let's bring my boss babe Tamika Moses on to the screen. Hey, girl.
Hey, what's that, sister? How are you?
I'm well. So let me tell you something very interesting about this boss babe here. Not only do we share a high interest in real estate, not only do we have the commonality of a high interest in real estate investing, we actually have the same birthday, and our middle name, my middle name is her first name. So we don't have too much get money together. We got some money.
No, we just connected.
We gotta get some money. All right. So for those of you who are tuned in, make sure that you drop any of your comments or questions. Be sure to share the episode just in case you have some boss babes that would like to get into commercial real estate. This is a very foundational conversation. So this is not for people who have already invested in commercial real estate. This is people that are, number one, thinking about, yeah, Shani, I know you talk about saving money every single week. I know that you're saying build my credit score, but we're thinking, okay, what do I do once I save that money? What do I do once I boost my credit score? Or you need a little bit of more motivation in order to get that going, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Tamika, I know that you have spent over a decade in real estate, and specifically, I know that you have some specific designations when it comes to commercial real estate. I know that here in South Florida, you've also received some rewards for being a high producer when it comes to commercial real estate. So my first question to you would be, ideally, do you think someone should purchase their first residential property first or a commercial property? What are your thoughts on that?
It all depends on their needs and their wants. I've had some clients that they just skipped over the 1 to 4 unit, and they saw a 10 unit and they wanted to purchase a 10 unit. So it's okay. You just have to start somewhere. So I tell my clients 1 to 4 units, that is considered residential. After 4 units, if it's a 5 unit or a 6 unit, 7 unit, whatever it is after that, that is commercial. So I've had some clients that purchased 5 units. So I tell anyone, I ask all my clients, what is your preference? Where do you want to begin? If you want to say, I want to start in commercial real estate, and let's go ahead and start in commercial real estate. Especially if we have the financing and everything in hand, let's go ahead and go. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So typically, I would ideally imagine that someone who decides to skip over residential and go straight into commercial is definitely someone who's looking for profitability as opposed to just, purchasing a property. Okay. So, yes.
Yes, that is true. I have worked with some people. They're like, listen, this is going to be my retirement. This is how I'm going to set myself up. So that 10 unit may be producing almost close to $10,000 a month. And that's something they can actually live off of. So they're like, listen, I want this 10 unit. I want this 20 unit building. They're not starting with the duplexes or the triplexes or the fourplexes. This is how they're structuring themselves. So they do start off with a bigger property in commercial. So some people are setting up their retirements very early. Right.
So right at the beginning, they're thinking about an income producing property. They're skipping over residential. They're not thinking about the dream home. They're thinking about retirement, and they're thinking about residual income immediately. Is it common for someone who is just getting into commercial real estate in the way that you just described? Is it common for them to also live in one of those units? if that's like their first property, is that a common thing or no? What do you
That's
see in
not
terms of habits?
That's not a common thing. Now, if they're doing like a 2 to 4 unit, they're not okay. Now I'm going to house hack and I'm going to start building myself up. But when you're dealing with commercial property, you're looking like, no, I need all of those doors rented out. So they're not already looking at, okay, that I'm going to live in one of these units. Rarely
Okay.
I have someone say, okay, that I will live in one of these units, but more than likely they're not staying there.
Okay, got it. So that would be more common in someone who wants to get maybe a property with 1 to 4 units, not so much when you're moving over to 5 or more. That kind of moves out. Okay. Typically, what would you find when someone's just getting into commercial real estate? What are you seeing as like their first type of commercial property? What is ideally their first type?
It all varies. I've had clients that are now. I have a client right now. They're looking for their first office condo space. What they want to do is they want to start on a smaller scale of a WeWork space, like a virtual office, and build themselves up from there. They want a certain amount of rooms, and then they're going to also have a big open space and say, okay, then now I'm going to do it as like a virtual office space. So it all depends. Then I have the other clients that are looking for multifamily. So okay, then let me start off with a 10 unit, or if they have other partners along with them, they may start off with something bigger, like a 20 unit building. So it all depends on people's finances. It all depends on their credit and what they all collectively done it as a whole. And a lot of people who I work with, far as with multifamilies, especially on the commercial side, on larger units, they usually go into partnerships. They usually have partners going along inside the deals with them.
Okay, so you're kind of seeing both. So right now you're working with 2 clients in terms of they're looking to create their own type of WeWork, type of virtual office type of space that they're looking to do. And the other one is looking to do a multifamily. But what you're finding is that on the multifamily, are you finding that it is more traditionally partners? It's not typically just one individual, or you're
No. From what I've experienced in the last couple of years, it's not just one individual, it has been partnerships. And that's how they're able to take down the bigger properties. Because they're like, well, listen, I don't have to put all of my capital into it. If I bring in some certain partners, we can go ahead and collectively buy this building together and still be able to make residual income off of it.
Okay. The other question I was going to ask you is, okay, do live workspaces fall under CRE? That's a question from Jared Joseph. Do live workspaces fall under CRE?
That we call mixed use. So it does fall under commercial real estate. So mixed use, you would have like apartments on the top or some sort of property, and then also you would have retail at the bottom. So we call that mixed use. So yes, that's considered commercial. And you're going to see a lot of those developments coming about.
What are the typical, what is multifamily housing considered CRE? Someone just asked that. Okay, so that one was answered. What are the typical credit scores are you seeing for those that are breaking into commercial real estate? What are their credit scores typically like?
They at least, if they're going through their financing with the bank, they at least are having at least a 700 credit score. So you do need to have excellent credit score. If not, and I would say in commercial real estate, it's a lot of creative financing. So if you have one person in the group may have the credit score, so they're gonna be able to sign on the loan. Or you're gonna also be able to get a hard money lender. But if that's the case, you're gonna put down more money, and the interest rate is going to be much, much higher.
Okay, so typically the credit scores that you're finding when someone wants to get into commercial real estate is typically going to be a 700. So you're definitely going to need what's called a paper, right? So for those of you that are thinking, what do I do with my credit score? Okay, can you think here? We're here in Miami, where the real estate market is, high at this time, what most people would consider high. What would you say the average cost to get into commercial real estate, those properties, what would you say like the average cost would be?
I would say at least 500,000 and above. And that's just really on a low end, because now you even having some fourplexes are a little 500,000 and above. So if it's something like a little lower, like 600,000-700,000, I know it's typically going to need a whole lot of work. But it may be in an area where they are redeveloping. So value is so as a value add. So you have to look at it as that. Most people, when I tell them when they get into commercial, especially with multifamilies, you're looking at it not just as a quick flip, but as a long-term hold, because you're going to get long-term residual income coming in. And you also have to look at the surrounding area. What is coming into the neighborhood? What are the demographics in that neighborhood? Do they typically do the tenants actually accept? Do the landlords, accept Section 8 tenants? Is this an area where it's a lot of high government assistance? You have to look at all of those numbers. Or is this a A-class area as far as higher income owners around in the area? So you have to look at all of that. So it all depends on the demographics. And my number one thing is location. So with this administration, I'm telling people to really watch out with the Biden administration, because they have so many things coming about for people to actually get into commercial real estate. So I'm telling people right now, pay attention to that infrastructure bill that he's already presenting, because there's going to be a lot of opportunities to get into the commercial space as an owner and also as a developer.
Right, and that's one of the things we also want to mention to make sure that you follow Tamika, because that is one of the things that you're really good about. You're always sharing what's going on in the news as it relates to commercial property. You're really big on gentrification, so you're always sharing information. So for that alone, be sure to follow her, just so that you can begin to pique an interest. You see it in your mind first, and then you begin to do it with your hands. We got another question from Jared. Are there grants and first-time homebuyer programs for CRE properties?
No first-time home buyer grants, but the government, they do have different grants, but then you have to it's a long and tedious process through grants.gov, because they do have grants out there, especially through HUD as well, to purchase commercial property. That's usually through your nonprofit. So they do have that as well. If you follow me or if you inbox me on Instagram, I can definitely try to get you some of that information. But there are all different types of strategic ways into purchasing commercial real estate. That's one thing I can say, is a lot of creativity that's being done with commercial real estate and how to obtain it as well.
Okay, and that website that you shared where people can learn more would be grants. What did you say? Did you say grants.com?
Yeah, grants.gov. So grants.gov, okay. And you just Google in real estate, and you will see all different types of ways to try to obtain commercial real estate. They do have different grants on there as well. Even look through HUD as well, HUD.gov.
Okay, so we did drop that for you guys, grants as well. Okay, so Zinzi has a question about multifamily housing, not live work spaces. Multifamily housing is building, are they considered CRE?
Anything 5 and above are considered CRE. So 1 to 4 is
5 and above, Zinzi.
Yes.
Zinzi, I'm sorry about that. I mixed you up. So anything
no,
5 and above. No, her. She had asked that question again, but I thought it was the same question. Okay, got it. So anything 5 and above would be considered commercial real estate. Okay. Mm-hmm. If someone are business owners better or easier tenants, would you consider business owners better or easier tenants?
It all depends. I mean, I've seen some business owners that didn't pay your retail rent. So a lot of that was going on during the pandemic. So, I mean, it all depends. With commercial real estate, when I have people that are looking at strip centers, I'm gonna give you an example. Looking at strip centers, they always ask who are the big box tenants in the strip center, because they know if the small mom and pop can't make their rent, they can make their rents up off the big box centers. So like your Publix, even your Subways, they have, because those are corporate. Under those corporations, those rents need to be paid on the first of each month. So I wouldn't say being a business owner would make an easier tenant. It just all depends on the income and the profitability of that business owner in their business.
All righty. So guys, we have one more question. What opportunities are there if I want to purchase through my business as opposed to my personal credit? Do you know specific opportunities?
There are different opportunities. Most people, when they buy a business, they don't buy it, they don't buy it through their personal. The personal may guarantor it for some instance or some lenders, but it goes through the business. So most businesses, even leases, they are held in their LLCs or their corporations or whatever. So there are lenders for that. In a commercial space, you can close in on a loan in your LLC or your corporation.
All righty, all righty. So, oh, they are loving this question. Okay, so what advice would you give someone that has a house already but wants to use $50,000 from a cash out refinance for a multifamily home as an investment? What steps should they work on to get in alignment with that purchase? You can tell when it's my, you can tell when it's my clients, because they, what they got to do to get in alignment with the bag. Okay, how do I align with the
bag? They want the bag. They want the bag, and I'm loving it. They want the bag, and I'm loving it.
So give sis some alignment steps, because she wanted to know if she already owns a property, she wants to take some of the money out and then look into getting into a multifamily. What are some of the base level steps that she would need to take to do that?
Well, your base level step first is to align yourself with a realtor who can actually help you purchase that multifamily. So we can get you pre-qualified, pre-approved. So we can see, okay, how much can you afford on this multifamily? One thing is about it, it's not just about how much you afford, because also you have to take into consideration of the leases, the income on that property. So you have to take a look at that as well. You have to look at the depreciation costs, the appreciation costs. So it's a lot of different factors. But the first things first is to actually align yourself with a real estate professional who can help you find that multifamily property, whether it be Dade County, Broward County, or anywhere throughout the state of Florida or outside the state of Florida as well, where you're going to get more bang for your buck. I also tell clients when they're looking for a multifamily, we have to see whether or not you're looking at clients that want month to month. Do you want clients that want to be on Section 8? Also, another big thing that people are actually building up that I've noticed as well, people are buying multifamily properties to make them to short-term rentals to maximize the profits off of their rentals. So it's all different types of factors of what you can do with a multifamily investment right about now.
That was excellent. That was excellent. All right. So you're welcome, Jared. Okay, so I'm gonna do and Jared's gonna say he's going to inbox you with some more questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do my absolute best for those of you who are sitting. I'm going to do my absolute best. And if I lose track of some of the money, right, because money is information, especially when we convert it over into implementation. All right. I want you to give me some money, because I'm going to try to wrap up your tips really quickly. For those that are thinking about getting into commercial real estate. So either you're sitting on one side of the conversation or the other. Either you already have that 700 credit score and you have access to some capital and you're thinking, what can I do with this money now, right? Or you're on the other side of the conversation where you don't have a 700 credit score, but you're thinking, Shani, you're always talking about saving money. You're always talking about improving my credit. Why would I do that? So here's something that you can do, right? Put yourself in alignment with getting a income producing property, right? So first number tip, you definitely could consider skipping altogether. You can decide to skip getting your first residential property. You should decide, hey, I'm going to go straight into the commercial industry. I'm not going to tie my credit up with a individual property. That's the first tip. The second one is that there are some creative ways to purchase the property. If you're thinking about it, okay, so the minimum to get in, at least in South Florida, would be $500,000. You already said that at that $500,000, that typically those are going to be properties that are going to need quite a bit of repairing. Yes? Yes. Okay.
Yes, that is true.
Yes, but one, getting into the market. The second one is having the ability to be able to partner with others. Maybe it may be your credit that is going to be securing the deal, and then you're going to collectively do the financing together. You can also look into hard money lenders, but you gave a disclaimer when you decide to deal with a hard money lender, you may be dealing with higher interest rates. Also, you also mentioned that in this particular government, there is going to be a lot of money available to support you in getting into commercial real estate. You said check out grants.gov, as they are a way
Yes.
to assist you in getting into the market. And then the last tip would be make sure that you align yourself with the right realtor that can assist you in getting into the market. I would say that that is definitely key, because maybe if you're working with someone that you know, maybe they just know a little bit about, residential properties, right? And they may not know a whole lot about getting into commercial real estate. We'll let that be your last comment for tonight. Have you kind of seen people kind of do that, where they do, they want a commercial property and they're working with one of their friends. Their friends is in the business, but that person has no understanding of commercial real estate. How is that a disservice to someone?
I would say it's a disservice, because commercial real estate, it's a lot of legalities to it. So I've had a couple of realtors that have been actually referring me a lot of their commercial clients, and I've been keeping them abreast of what's going on. Eventually, I will be having classes that I'll be able to teach commercial real estate as well. So, it's not a disservice, because the thing about it is, if you don't know, you don't know. Like it was at one point I didn't know, and I had to go learn. But I always tell people, education. That's my number one key into learning. And I'm like, just go right into it. That's even when people are wanting to purchase commercial real estate. All right, then align yourself with the right realtor who's going to educate you and walk you through the steps.
Right. So that's why I'm asking for like identifiers to kind of know, like, okay, I'm working with someone who actually knows about commercial real estate. So what type of questions should I be asking to a realtor? Because I don't just want someone that, doesn't know anything about the profitability, cap rates. I don't want any of that. So what type of questions should I be asking? Because I don't want to just buy a property, right, and say, hey, I own it, but I want it to actually be an income producing property. And some realtors are able to really help you to get an understanding of, hey, this is how much this particular property is going to produce an income. So can you kind of give like some guidance questions to know, like, maybe this is the realtor, maybe it's not?
When you're asking there are you can actually hear it through the conversation, like, okay, I don't think this is the right realtor. So if they just presented you just a property off the MLS, say, hey, let's go look at this. Okay, you like it, and that's it. They can't give you any numbers, any cap rates. They can't tell you, okay, then what this side of rents are within the marketplace in the surrounding areas. Give you any type of comparables. Give you any type of, just like, okay, then with this the idea that you can take into order to maximize this property. Then you're kind of figuring like, okay, I don't think you're the realtor for me. Because as a commercial broker, they actually have to be able to give you more ideas to say, okay, then, well, this property is a blank space, but this is what you can do with this property. And especially and then also, hey, this property is zoned for 20 units. This property is zoned for multi-uses, far as a restaurant, this X, Y, and Z. So they have to know you have to know the zoning and everything. So they have to know different things about zoning, about leases, about even when you're dealing with multifamilies, this is the NOI, okay, then this is the cap rate on this building. So over time, this will increase. This was going on in the neighborhood. So they kind of get a picture. So if your realtor really isn't going into detail to explain it, then they'll start putting the lights will start going off your head. You're like, okay, I don't think it's the realtor for me. But I think it's the realtor who can help me with residential, but not stepping into commercial. Also, when you're dealing with a commercial realtor, make sure they also have a team in place. Make sure they also have a commercial real estate attorney, because you're definitely going to need that can help assist you with any type of contracts. Make sure they also have commercial inspectors. Make sure they have commercial appraisers. Make sure they have a commercial contractor, because, like I said, some buildings are going to need some work. So they may have just a resource of things that they can pull out and give to you. And like, okay, now I work with this person, or I've seen this person's work, and I can vouch for this person. That's when you're starting to know, okay, now I'm feeling a lot more at ease.
Sounds like we just got some money in our purse.
Yes, I want all of us. Yes, I want us to get this money.
Tuned in. We're going to make sure that we share with you, since now that we've got your thinkers thinking, okay? When you get ready to set your goals, when you get ready to save your money, it's like, hey, you talk a lot about saving, but what am I supposed to do with all this money?
You gotta put that money to work.
It helped us open up our spiritual purse, our business purse, our actual purse, and some of our wallets. So let's just cap it off with some money.
Yes, we got to get into this. Yes, we definitely have to get into this.
So, until next time, we want you to do something that is going to add some value to your purse or wallet. Next week, we're going to be talking about, is this a good time to sell your house in this market? Is it a good time? Like, should I be holding? So for those of you that are thinking about selling a property, you have any question as it relates to that, next week we're going to have one of my favorite real estate brothers, and he's going to be sharing with us, is it a good time to sell? Or
yes.
All right, until next time. See you guys next week.
Thank you. Bye.